So that's the situation here. I'm sure there was something else. Oh yes, I know there was something else I was going to mention. Yeah, being a tower block. That's why you've got your aerial 60 feet up. I was going to say, how on earth have you got antennas, a wire antenna up at 60 feet?
Sure, anyone can kind of think, hang on, what's that line going across from to the railway? I to use, you can't go straight in a diagonal line kind of thing. It has to sag under its own weight. Naturally, there's nothing I could do about that, but I didn't expect it to have quite such a, an arch to its sagging. But it's not a problem. I've not had any complaints or anything, and as I say, there's not really much call for anyone to walk under it and decide to look up and see it. But even if they did, I mean, how many people are really going to care? So far, I've got away with it, so it's not a problem. It's that or nothing, David, where I am. Obviously, without even the balcony, there's nothing else I can do, which is why I had to endure 18 years of being restricted to 2 and 70. I just couldn't think of anything to do with putting out an antenna for HF. But yeah, I've got kind of introduced to the NTED wire, and it's worked fantastically for me since I've done it, coming on to 5 years this May, I believe. So yeah, I found a way around it. You say that your situation, having retired, is not exactly what you planned, but in reality, David, I wonder just how many people live out exactly the retirement that they planned for however many years prior to it actually happening. I'm sure things change through no fault of our own. External influences kind of alter what we have planned to do. But, you seem to have the right attitude there. We have to kind of look at what we do have and try and enjoy the good things rather than always focusing on the things that we don't like. I think that's part of the problem with humanity. Too much moaning and complaining about the things they don't like and what they wish to change, but there's never any gratitude given to the things that do go well in their lives and what they do like. So it's a bit strange that we kind of adopt that attitude, but that's probably why there's so much moaning going on in the world. But certainly no need to apologise about not wanting to live in London. It's certainly not my choice. I've got no choice at the moment, put it that way, but it's not my preference. I would love to live somewhere out amongst the natural surroundings and greenery and animals and things like that. But of course, living in London, you don't really consider what needs to be done with regards to working if you're living in a place like that. Just as you pointed out, of course, shops, you can't have a shop just round the corner from you if you're in the middle of nowhere. In fact, within a 3-minute walking distance, I have not enough shops, but I have 2 shops from which I can purchase just about anything I need, for essential day-to-day living with regards to food or toiletries and things like that. And of course, I no longer need to drive. That's the other good thing about being in London. There's so many forms of transportation that a car is not really necessary. It's just a luxury. But being where you are, I would imagine it is somewhat of a necessity. But being a full-time carer for my mother at the moment, David, I am kind of restricted to where I can go. But, my plan is hopefully when I hit retirement age, I would like to live somewhere out of London, just to experience the tranquility of being amongst nature and the greenery of natural surroundings. But as I said, whether that happens or not is another story. That's what I would like to happen, but we'll have to wait and see there, David. 0NMI, G0VBI, over.
G0VBI. VBI M0, am I coming back? Okay, all copied. Thank you very much for the information there. Yeah, it was interesting. I must admit, I used to have to go into London when I was working in Reading. I used to have to go into London on occasion. It was okay, I suppose. It wasn't too bad if I went in on the train, because the tube system works quite nicely. I could usually get to it within walking distance of where I was going. But of course, if I was carrying equipment with me, which I needed to either install or do whatever I was doing to it for a customer, then I would have to drive in, and I really hated driving in London. In fact, the last time I drove in London was just before Christmas. My daughter invited us out for a meal in one of the I'm not quite sure, I can't even remember where it was now, I really can't, but we drove into London, and the traffic, I have no idea why, but the traffic, and it was a weekend, so I don't know why it was bad, the traffic coming into London on the Great West Road was absolutely horrendous. From hitting Hammersmith, it took us, I think, nearly an hour and a half to get about 12 miles. And by the end of it, I just had enough. It was just horrendous. I couldn't do it. So I think, for people who live there, I can understand why you don't want to drive. I really do. Yeah. As for retirement, yeah, it's a mixed blessing, I think. Not having to actually have to do something when you get up in the morning is quite difficult. You have to sort of motivate yourself to get on and do things and do stuff that you would normally sort of be having to do and not have to think about getting, what you're going to do today, sort of thing. But I'm sort of learning. I think it is a learning process. You have to. It's not something you can just fall into. It's a completely different mindset, I think. Being retired. Moaning on the air, yeah. I heard a few this morning. I was earwigging on I'm not sure which band it was on now, but there was somebody talking about something, and it was, moan this, moan that, everything's bad, nothing's good, and I thought, hang on a minute, okay, things aren't brilliant at the moment in the world, but there must be something positive you can take from what's going on. I know things aren't absolutely fantastic, but it's not. I don't want to talk about it. If you're on the air, if you're talking about things like that, you want to be emphasising the positive. Otherwise, you're gonna get depressed. It's not something I want to do. Not something I want to do at all. Just going back to your aerial a moment. You've got this 60-foot high antenna wire going 90 feet down to this railway arches. What do you use for a counterpoise or an earth? I mean, have you got some sort of wire going all the way down the side of the building to an earth stake, or have you got it earthed out some other way, or have you got some other means of doing it? So I'd be very interested to know. If I pass it back to you, G4 VBI M0, am I over?
Okay, G4 VBI, thanks for that. A G0 VBI returning. No, actually, the aluminium window frames on the entire block in which I live are all bonded together. That's also in turn bonded to the electrical mains and also to the lightning conductor. So my 9-to-1 oven, which I built in a tin, is actually directly in contact with the window frames. So if you can imagine a 180-foot tall building and probably 100-foot wide and 60-foot deep with every single window frame bonded together, that's my earth. So, quite vast. Once I heard someone say that, I'm kind of in a Faraday cage, which to some extent is true, I guess. And I think that's probably why my transmitted signal always tends to be far better than what I'm able to pull in. I don't know, but that's the earthing situation. I don't actually know if it serves as a conventional earth or a counterpoise, but there's been many ideas about how my actual antenna system is functioning, whether it is functioning as a conventional end-fed wire or what, because of the vast earthing system. I mean, it's just huge. I've got God knows how much more earth over what I have of radiating element, if you like. So that's the earthing system here. Yeah, driving in London, my goodness me, that's one of the few reasons why I'm very pleased that I no longer have to drive. It's terrible, it really, really is. I don't know how long ago it was you was referring to, but oh God, if you try driving in London these days, it's horrific. It really is. It's bumper to bumper. I remember when I was with an ex-girlfriend of mine, she lived no more than a mile and a half. I could have walked to there in, 20 minutes. I used to drive there, of course, and one particular evening, I kind of left about 5:30, which is the normal time that it seems to be chock-a-block with cars and traffic on the road going up to where my girlfriend used to live. On this particular day, David, it took me over an hour to drive less than 2 miles. I was so fuming by the time I got there, I just wanted to come back. That really kind of hit it for me that, God, I really don't like driving anymore. Many years ago, when I first passed my test, I was, 17? And got my car. I couldn't wait to drive. I'm sure, like most of us, it's so exciting, the freedom to have your own car, just to get in there whenever you chose, and just to drive wherever you like, just for the sheer fun of it. I used to love driving, I really did. Almost every evening I'd be out for a couple of hours, just driving around on my own, listening to music, and it was really pleasurable. Now, forget it. It's a case of spending far more time in traffic, bumper to bumper, than actually moving. So, no, it's really, really bad in London these days. So, there's many reasons why I stopped driving, but that, of course, was one of them. And with regards to moaning, I guess it's something we all tend to do from time to time. It's quite human and natural, I guess, under the stressful life conditions that we're kind of forced to endure, especially in London. But it's a bit sad that we don't just pay a little bit more attention to the things that do go well, because not everything in people's lives at the moment is bad. It's just that they tend to focus on the bad things. But why not focus equally on the good things? Maybe not as much, but now and again, talk about the good things that are going on in your life. Try and discuss the people that have done nice things to you, about moaning and bickering at those that have wronged or harmed you. It's just part of life. I think being more acceptant and tolerant of everything is really the only way out of becoming a perpetual moaner there, David. M0NMI, G0VBI, go ahead.
G0VBI, sorry about the call sign before, Chris. I don't know why I said 4. I didn't write it down as 4. M0NMI returning. Okay, moaning, yes, absolutely. No, I think the reason that why people do it, it's the same reason that the news, when you hear news, all the news you hear is bad, because good news isn't news, is it? Yeah, that's the reason. People don't want to hear good news. It's everything. You want to see something that's happening that's really bad. So people feel, well, my life is actually slightly better than what's going on over there. So therefore, it's not. I feel better about it. The fact that somebody else is getting it worse than me. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think that's the psychology behind it. It's I don't know. It's one of those things. But as far as driving is concerned, unfortunately, I do have to continue driving. If I need to go and get anything from the shops, it's about a 10-minute drive from here into Cirencester. So to go to the local supermarket, there is a little supermarket down in Cricklade, but it doesn't have all the big stuff. I mean, we can get milk and bread and that sort of thing down there, but it's not exactly packed with goodies. And the one in Cirencester is quite a big one. It's the big extra type, so I can get all my stuff there. Right. Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to disappear in a moment and go and get some lunch and see what the rest of the household's up to. Whether Jen and Nick have got back from doing stuff out on the farm yet, or whether they need me to do anything this afternoon. I'll say thank you very much for the conversation there, Chris. I'm sure we have spoken before because I seem to remember I think your call sign does ring a bell, but maybe I wasn't an M0 then. It could have been I was an M6 or a 2E0 a couple of years back, so that might be the reason you didn't recognise my call sign. But anyway, it's been great to talk. Absolutely fantastic conversation. It's nice to have a wrecked you. It's the second one I've had in 2 days. A really good QSO. It's great fun. Thank you very much for that. I'll sign now and wish you 7-3, and I'll just listen for any final from you. Golf 0, Victor Bravo India, Mike 0, November Mike India. Back to you, Chris. Over.
Yeah, thank you, David. Very good indeed. No problem. Yeah, it may be the case that the last time we spoke, your call sign was something else. I mean, yeah, December 14. I was, I think it was 2012 that I kind of got onto HF. Yeah, because it's my 5th year now. So yeah, it was around May 2012. So yeah, if you had your call sign and it was something other than M0 NMI back then maybe